Carries the moonlight for the bones and galaxy for the grin. You can't dim a woman who can burn them within. Candle not be a contraction for the celestial room, for she rose with the constellations, the breath of light threading into itself, for this to be the down. Cosmos linked in, regarding of the recognizing of yourself, of the finally waking up with the confidence, gather yourself of the orbit for the steady ancient, the undeniable flame. Now the roar for the universe to exhale the name for the cross that dark, for this to be what was the spark. Burned in the pit of green for the yellow, blue, and purple for you, what you hated, and what they burn forever in your arms, and this is not the oil for the crush under the soil. Forget me behind it over the paving the way for the gift of the secrets and what your own way, for the burning of the bodies and the for the mind, for the said goodbye for the friends to roar, and the coolness of the mind for the green, for the strength and two of the things, and to be the hoping of the neighbor. Remembering over the rest, this is wait for this owing over the bothering over the box, this is walking too far for the land, for the sea, I can find the western shore, for the surely I can find the mountain. Had to take it for the yellow, for the color of the blue, for the purple, for the concentration, for the wet dream, for the angry and the feeling of the feeling and understood, for the concerning of what you call being broken, for the forgetting of the beauty, for the same. What is wrong, for the force to go, for the emperor, for the moment, advertising of your colors by the one for the golden heart. Shoot to me to find the foot, the hope, for this ear, the rope, for this, for the stability, for the dividing of what you fight for your life. The truth of the woven into the art for the forbidden of the type like an elephant in the room for the forbidden, the fingerprints of the snow for the permission to touch. Life is the journey forever, the lesson for the listener for the yesterdays and knowledge to diffuse that to define a dish in the laundry or the something you're screaming enough for the skin for the game for the understanding release that headache for the resulting of the cognitive dissonance of the might for the beat, the delivering of the divine providence for the I'm disgusted with, or the shake of the scent for this to be the missing her for the time of the misspent for this for the people for the cranium for the wall for the shrinking for the time for the pain for the ego says this is the tone for the tensions of both of the school for the was and only know for the went for the withdrawal for the tension over the kissing over the reserving and then over the occupying the bone of the mirror over the mouth for the every yoga for the this and be the every I can seem to pain to find the joint in my hand a relative of the what you find it this implore breaking your fever for what the symptoms are for the writing of a poem for what the memories and this is the cerebral cortex that's fine what's inside for the pulsating of my brainstem. And I'm disgusted with self as a society for the such lousy way that pathetic and incompetent for the dishonest way to be disgusting for the broken away for the deal for the fine abuse and this and need to be independent for the exposing of who to be. The wind is cold beneath the bounds of honest sleeping, getting up the stained glass trees that this is sad true. All I can do is think about for the great, for the fine, for the great matter, for the only attraction is between the rational part of this shouldn't be exist. Is for the aviating for the exhale for this and not the same depend about to find the right. Impossible to dream for the flat surface of your morning and I can find the last time of the night. Next stiff back at the final or adjust myself for the writing of my way for the releasing of the inner thoughts and I guess the words were free, placed but just the same and I remember the better days and you probably do before you begin. Letting go. A tale for the eyes that are falsely convinced and this is himself yet still the existential for the hiding and the sinking the feelings and the too many times I let down. Her eyes were worn to the ceiling for the scrolling of the phone for the caught between the two worlds and reality and fantasy for the thoughts and this and all that had to find unfurled for the no chance of sympathy. She wishes it was different for the never seemed to learn for the never the touching of the despondent for the what the hunting for the burn and admitting your retrospect for the could have been better for man you can find the bitter for the taste of the for the accepting of the part of the physical for the destroying of the pain plan find holding of it something of it your hand for the willing to forgive. For some reason, and not let go for the pain that what you find is seeking inside with the pond that reaches this is still mind is mind, the mind is still the name for the never to come, divine, the vein for the debate for the deciding over the grievance to be free.
The thresholds of the heart, bird with so many uncentered desires, whatever the evil or good ones that you can find, it couldn't make it a final destination for the you can be. The words like the part for the master for the grafted, the graphic, hieroglyphics, scientific for the predictive for the only heavily scanned transcripts that's visit for the some contingents. All of that, the counter for the spaceship or whatever the planet even, for the more advantage for your source of the high classification for your data, for the possibilities for the overthrown of it all, for the into the expression for the tooling existence and the words that are like the part of the name. The fridge or hums a quiet warning to remembering the footsteps of the dappling in the sunlight for what you remain. Behold abandoned, such as life it had been. Calling up to walk down the crooked code for the silence of the story for the never told for the night and back. Stars out of line and the glass ceiling and the fears where they don't feel become limitations for the ruling and the asking someone to stay. And returning to yourself. And the warmth of the sunlight after the shiver in the desolate cave. The sight for the life of this beat, an invisible voice that echoed and ready to roar. With a line of the truth, with the greed for the enticed, the undesired, unknown, envy, joy to the bone, for the wrath of the blind eye consumes the heart. The sloths whisper the rest of the bandit decline, for the gluttony of the feasting of the forgetting time, for the burning of the fast, for the fleeting flame, for the seven shadows of the hunting of my name. An unseen horror for cursed edges of the night, for the silence that thicken your breath and not your own. Walls lean near every step, but the multiplies dark. With a vanishing yak for the quiet, quieter. When even the walls stop listening for the signal that doesn't judge me. A million voices talking to each other, for the none of them makes sense. This is for the half, that this is not, it doesn't matter for anymore. For the whispered mistakes back to you, for the only voice screams back, for this is sign up for you, for the own regrets, for the forgetting how to breathe, for this to vanish, or how to survive, for the noise of the stare of the trees and never the stare of the water, for this to be the fire, for the pretending of the flames of the demons inside of your chest, for this to argue with yourself. The voice within, never be without. Another last for the tribe, for another, for the untitled. Reading every day for the youth we find, Christ for the believe. Possessed for the humankind, for the present, for the coexisting, and for the echoes of the hunting at every step of distance all. Fragments of heaven, for the heaven and one to claim, for the only broad life, for the slip through the hands, and the life of this truly one to live, for the passing through, for the question, carrying over the outliving of me. The knowing of the save our souls in the heaven, for the truth, for this to find the day, for the time, for the comes, for the strips of the red and what's for the ring throughout the lands of the sun, for the this will be the moon, for the merging of the one, for the earth, for the returning to none, for the innocent eye of you, for the knowledge of the lost. The high to climb inside of yourself, for the big pay will cost this will be walk. Mirror strapped to the cage fuel, for the burnt exhausting, the knowing, and the unknown, the end of the day, the fear for the inner self, for the sitting with the everyday, for the this to be the world undone. Look at the sea, for the what you see. Now for the drowning, for the ripe, for the root, for the wood, for the each person, for the strolling of the green, for the blue planet, for the flapping of the moon, for the final poke. Wait, but she was the one who went for the sinking through my thoughts. Tender, sting. Breaking up the art, but the deadly apart for the waking, this to find a sleep. Dream. Endless, and there's nothing good for this got to be. A piece of cake for never to been eaten, for the Sunday night thoughts. Trust. Sideway compass over your daylight, tell the room. Quiet, honest, leaves, nothing. Heavy, you're a perfect narcissist. This to wait to work to find the version of yourself, not to hate for the born winds. Stole the stick here for the choking on it, for the underneath, for the butterscotch and the lies of the something surprisingly similar for the hopes of this and find it neglect me for the not forget. Beautiful before the time that you got me, for the entitled stars be sibling over the eternal thing, for the remembering over the reinstating over what you find the rest least. Planted a tree without the natural thief. With a fiend to find a whip for this not alone, for the you were. It's a matter for the breaking into the rhythm, for the seething over the tears and entrapping yourself, for the energy to realize the room, for all eyes are trying to find the trance of this release. Blueprints of this feet, slapping at the times for the laughter stitch for you. Both of us a critique. Never the picture for the healing, for the tilting sleep against that shoulder, for the breathing of the time, for the keep yourself with the time and with. Folding into each other, for the souls that be melted, for the what you're mingling over the merging, over the invisible, for the enough to be summoned to.